start today's session. First of all, thanks for joining, guys. This session about GRE, what exactly GRE exam is going to be and what are the key ideas we need to take care of, because there's each and every step which is required to understand what exactly the structure is going to be and how we should address such concerns or whatever queries we have. And is this the right approach what we are following, or what should be the right approach to understand the structure, to react to it, and how overall process will be managed by you. So let's understand what exactly we'll be covering today. In today's session, we're going to talk about exam structure first, what exactly exam structure is and how important it is, how it's going to play a very important role in your overall preparation process and the time you require to understand the structure, give examination and everything. And what exactly GRE is focusing on, what exactly the main area the exam is focused on. For example, if I just pick any random situation, let's say we deal with any civil services exam, if we talk about some banks exam. So they have their priorities and they have their understanding what exactly they're testing. Same GRE has its own way of understanding and reacting and asking you any problem based on. So each and every thing has its own importance. So we're going to talk about exam structure first, then what exactly GRE is focusing on, the focus area is going to be, then which kind of skill set is required. Because this is a quant session, so we're going to understand how and what skill set is required to problems based on quant they'll be asking you. Post that, we'll be dealing with some tips to reach 170, because again, each and everything matters. Exam structure, what exactly their focus area, because we should understand if I'm giving IIT exam or some JEEE and all, so they have their structure in their mind. What are they testing? So same for GRE. So when each and everything, every bit is added, then we can only relate what exactly they are trying to understand and how we can react to it. Nitish, just want to confirm that Nitish is saying that my voice is low. Is anyone else facing that issue? Great. Then the problem, Nitish, and those who are facing an issue because of their internet connection, or you should join again with your phone, some other device. So the issue is that because when majority wise we say that they're not facing issues, you just need to connect again. Let's talk about the exam structure first. When I'm saying exam structure, which means what exactly will be answering. So exam structure combination of total 6 sections. When I'm saying the 6 sections, what exactly those 6 sections are. The first section we talked about, that is AWA. In this, you will be writing 2 essays. If you can see, the one is going to be an issue and one is going to be an argument. I repeat, the first you will be writing 2 essays. The first is going to be one of the sessions essay is going to be, one is going to be issue based and one is going to be argument based. Okay, I'm really focusing on the first. You will be writing essay, which means you will be spending 1 hour here. The reason I'm saying 1 hour, which means you'll be getting 30 minutes for each section, which means for each essay you will be writing 30 minutes there, and then you will be switching to the next, and that's how one section completes. And that's going to be AWA. The full form is Analytical Writing Assessment. Its scoring is going to be from 0 to 6 points. I repeat, 0 to 6 points, and on 0.5 scale. When I'm saying 0 to 6 points, what does that mean? That means you can get 4.5, you can get 5, you can get 5.5, you can get 4 also, you can get 3.5 also. Now the understanding is how important is this, because this score is not out of 340. I'm repeating, this score is not out of 340. Just try and understand. You are writing an application. I asked one of us, seniors who is in admissions, that why this AWA is there. It depends. because they're going to relate this idea how good you are writing and what exactly your thought process is working on. Because that score is going to relate your understanding, your reaction, ability to respond, and which kind of examples, which kind of thought process is going on. Because this is analytical writing assessment. One is issue based, one is argument based, which means you have to keep your thoughts on the in front of you by writing. And yes, definitely grammar matters, which kind of vocabulary you're using. So each and every idea is going to be important. Now, after that, you'll be writing 5 more sections. And those 5 sections are going to be either quant or verbal. Now, it's very interesting part. Which section is going to be quant and which section is going to be verbal? Among those 5 sections, 2 sections going to be for math and 2 sections going to be for verbal. For these 2 math sections, you'll be getting score from 130 to 170. And for these 2 verbal sections, you'll be getting score from 130 to 170. And your over score is going to be from 260 to 240. That's going to be the range, which means you can score from 260 to 340. Here, in each math section, you will be getting 20 questions to answer in 35 minutes. While in each verbal section, you'll be getting 20 questions in 30 minutes. There's a difference of 5 minutes. You're getting extra 5 minutes in quant. But I said 5 sections. How come 5 sections? I said 2 maths and 2 verbal sections. How come 5 sections? There is going to be one more section, and that is going to be experimental section. And in that section, you will not be getting any score, which means they're going to check that score. No, they're not going to give you any score, which is going to be included out of 340. This section is going to be either math or verbal, and that's going to be unscored, which means you will not be getting any score. So if you just try and understand 1 hour you spent here, and approximately 2.5 you will be spending here, that makes it 3.5 hours. And plus you can relate here 10-15 minutes break. So overall, this process is going to be the 4 hours process, and it's a huge one. The reason I'm saying it's a huge one, because if you try and understand, while college and school, you were definitely writing exams. You will be writing, let's say, some college exams in future right now, some of you. So I'm not sure how many of you are writing, but that's the whole idea to relate. But for 4 hours, you will be writing there. And yes, you will be giving your best shot. The reason I'm saying you give best shot, we'll talk about this idea once again. The reason I'm saying that, let me just address 2 things here. Guys, whatever queries you have, you can ask after I'm going to switch to the next part, which is after the structure. So I'll ask you guys whatever queries you have. I can see 2 of you have raised your hands. So, but yes. So you can ask your queries in the Q&A part, if that's okay. I hope you guys got it what I'm saying. So why I'm saying you'll be giving your best shot. First thing, I'm going to consider each and every factor. First, it's exam, which is going to take 4 hours, and it's going to take time also, because you'll be preparing and you'll be giving exam, plus the cost involved here. So each and every factor is important. So when I'm writing exam, you'll be giving your best shot there, but you'll have to give your best shot for 4 hours. But why I'm saying 4 hours? Let's say I'm writing a college exam. So how I'll be writing? They're going to give me the exam, the question paper, and I'll start solving. When I start solving, what happens? I start writing, okay, answers are correct in the beginning, and gradually my speed goes down. And when I see, okay, half an hour is left, or let's say 20 minutes is left, 25 minutes is left, I just try and buck up, okay, let's increase the speed. Okay, let's just move fast. And I start making a bit of silly mistakes, and we end up getting whatever we have. But try and understand what I said. You will be writing 5 sections. Here you'll be spending 1 hour. After that, you're going to switch to maths or verbal section. Now here again, approximately, if I relate, you'll be spending half an hour only. And this section alone carries its own weightage. Why? Because your exam is section adaptive. I repeat, because your exam is section adaptive. When I'm saying section adaptive, what does that mean? That means let's talk about the situation. You got quant, verbal, and quant. You got 5 sections. Now, when I'm saying section adaptive, that means each quant section you're going to get in future, that is based on the performance of the previous quant section, which means if this is a quant section, performance of this quant section is going to relate this next quant section. And similarly, if you're getting third quant section also, that is going to be based on the previous performance, which means what I'm trying to understand, if you're not going to do well here, so what are the chances? Is it going to affect your score? Is it going to affect your score here? So each and everything matters a lot. So understanding the structure that you'll be writing 5 sections here, maths or verbal, 3.2 verbal or 2.3 verbal, because that's again always going to be a doubt that which section you'll be getting, and that you'll be getting last section. That is going to decide. But which section is going to be experimental section? Is it going to be the last one, or it's going to be the first one? It is going to be one of the 5 sections, whichever the extra is. Among 3 quant sections, there's going to be 1 experimental section, or among 3 verbal section, 1 verbal is going to be experimental section, which means you will not be getting any score. And each section is going to decide the performance, your performance is going to decide the next verbal or the next quant section, and their respective. Now, if we talk about how section adaptive is important, I just want to give you one brief idea why I'm saying section adaptive is important. Adaptive nature of exam is important. And here, just one thing is going to be important. Just try and relate. With one mistake, I repeat, I'm talking about the mistake. With one mistake, you can get 170. I repeat, how section adaptive is important. I'm not going to say too much because they have never disclosed that kind of detail. So I'm just going to tell you the limited idea, give you the best understanding how section adaptive is important. Even after making one mistake, you can get 170. And that all is happening because of section adaptive nature. It depends where exactly you made that mistake. You made the mistake in the first section, you made the mistake in the second section, you made the mistake in the difficult question, you made the mistake in the easy question. Each and everything is important. So there are different patterns, there are different scoring styles are there with 3 mistakes, with 7 mistakes, with 10 mistakes, with 12 mistakes. Now, this is the best thing to understand how much score we want. Let's say I'm targeting 167. Okay, how many mistakes I can afford? Now, that's how the idea is. So even for 170, you can afford 1 mistake. I'm not saying 0 mistakes. I'm saying max 1 mistake. But 1 mistake can give you 169 also, because it completely depends what exactly your performance is, because they're trying to understand what exactly your skill set is. So skill set is going to play a very, very important role here. So again, I'm saying, giving GRE exam, yes, each and everything matters. The first is a structure, what exactly exam type is. We should know in and out of the exam, what exactly exam is. So that's how the exam structure is going to be. Anyone have any question related to exam structure, they can write in the chat and we can address. Or for any sort of question related to admission, everything, you can just write in the chat. You can just leave there. Or you can just give your number to directly, so we can get back to you for the same. Yes, we have a limited time. We have 35 minutes for each quant section and 30 minutes for each verbal section. Let's move ahead with this idea. What exactly the math section is going to be and which kind of questions you will be getting. When I'm saying math section and which kind of question you'll be getting, we need to understand the relation. For example, in school, in colleges, we used to get different like MCQs. We used to get just one answer type. We used to get some subjective in which we need to write, let's say, 200 words or 300 words or 100 words. So in quant, you will be getting 4 different types of problems. I repeat, in each quant section, you will be getting 4 different types of problems. The first is quantitative comparison question. Guys, when I'm saying comparison question, so this dealing is going to be completely different as compared to MCQ because of the writing and the nature. When I've written MCQ with one correct choice and one I've written MCQ with one or more answer choices. And the third one, if you can see the different from the first one, that is one answer choice and one or more answer choices. And the fourth part is that is numerical entry. So each type has a different relation with examination. So if you can see when I'm saying comparison questions, you will be getting 7 to 8 questions of comparison. I repeat, you will be getting 7 to 8 questions of comparison out of 20, which means per section. When I'm saying per section, that means one section of 20 questions. And for one section of 20 questions, you'll be getting 7 to 8 questions of this type. You'll be getting 2 to 3 questions of numeric entry. That's the rough idea. That's what we have seen. That's what we have seen while giving, like I've given GRE, like many of us given GRE. So we try and understand what exactly the strategy is going on, how they're asking problems, how many questions of this type, how many questions of that type. Even in their mock exams like Power Prep 1, Power Prep 2, Power Prep Plus, and the test given in the official guide. So in each and every section, we try and understand what exactly the pattern is going on. And yes, this is a great help to understand where to focus more. Like comparison question, you'll be getting 7 to 8 of comparison question, 2 to 3 of numeric entry. And rest all is going to be MCQ. Sometimes like MCQ with multiple correct choices, sometimes with one correct choice. Like that's how the variation is going to work. But yes, that's the rough idea. The reason I'm saying, because you can never get 10 or 12 of numeric entry or 10 of 12 of comparison question. That pattern is fixed. That number of questions from each type is going to be relatable. So that's how you'll be able to relate this. I'm assuming that you guys must have gone through MCQs earlier, somewhere in school, college, numeric entry, which means we need to fill the answer. What exactly this comparison type question is. So I'll just give you a brief idea about this comparison type question, what exactly this comparison type is, and then we're going to move ahead so that it can help in understanding what question I'm talking about. I'm talking about this type of question. When I'm saying comparison, quantitative comparison questions. That means if the word is relatable like comparison, so which means we'll be comparing something. What exactly we'll be comparing? We will be comparing two quantities. If you can see, I've mentioned here, this is quantity A and this is quantity B, and you will be getting 7 to 8 questions of this type. And one more interesting thing here, in that set of 20 questions, there'll be first 7 to 8 questions, which means section will be starting with these questions and they're never going to change this pattern. So by understanding what you'll be giving, it will be helping you that, okay, the best realistic situation you can get. So all our mocks and everything, you'll be giving the same pattern so that it can give you better understanding and the reality. So while comparing these two quantities, you'll be answering one of the 4 choices. Either quantity A is greater, either quantity B is greater, or the two quantities are equal, or the relationship cannot be determined. So if I ask you, if you guys can write in the chat, if I'm comparing 4 and 5, so which quantity is greater? So when I'm comparing 4 and 5, which quantity is greater? B. Great, thank you. So what I'm comparing, -4 into 5 and -5 into 4, then which quantity is greater? Great, because this is going to be -20 and this is also going to be -20. Great work. But let's say we have, just try and understand, -4x and -5x. Then which quantity is greater? Now we need to understand what is X. Yes, I'm getting different answers. Like many of us saying A, many of us saying B, some saying D. But why? Because it depends upon the value of X. Why it depends upon the value of X? For example, let's say X is 0. When I'm saying X is 0, so the quantity A is going to be 0, quantity B is also going to be 0. Okay. But if X is negative, but let's say X is minus 1. That means quantity A is going to be 4 and quantity B is going to be 5. For some situations, the two quantities are equal. For some situation, quantity B is greater, which means the whole thing depends upon the value of X. When the whole thing depends upon the value of X, which means the relationship cannot be determined from the information given. We have no idea what exactly the relation is going to be. Either they're going to be equal, maybe greater, maybe. So we have no idea which one is greater, which one is equal. So on that basis, we're going to decide, okay, the answer is going to be D, which means we cannot figure out a defined relation between quantity A and quantity B. Just to give you hands-on, like what exactly the type is going to be. I think you can attempt and you can understand what exactly the situation is going to be. So just give a try to this question. Everyone just give a try. It's not a test. So just for best of your understanding, whatever you want to relate, just try and relate and figure out. Just give it thought. I'm getting many answers. I'm getting C, D, C, D, C, D. But okay, still I can see like there is a relation, or for some of you there is a relation, some of you there is no relation. I understand you guys see this is a triangle. One side is 3, one side is 4. We're talking about the length of side AC. We're talking about the length of side AC, and that is equated to 5. I remember one thing, that I've seen figures in which such figures were, and this relation I've used many times, that this figure is there. If this is 4, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Okay. Yes, one of you said like there is a Pythagoras theorem, but as far as I remember, that Pythagoras theorem says that 3 square plus 4 square is 5 square. But Pythagoras is only applicable when we are dealing with a right angle triangle. I repeat, when we are dealing with a right angle triangle. Now, how much this angle is? Okay, that's not given. That's not given to us. What angle is this? They could have given it to 90, but yes, they have not mentioned. I repeat, they have not mentioned. What if they would have mentioned? If they would have mentioned like this, okay, then angle is 90 for sure. That's what we have started. And to this basic, we should know. We should know the reasoning why it's 3, 4, 5. So because this is 90, then only I can apply this Pythagoras theorem, and then only I can say what exactly the third side is going to be. And that's what we have learned so far. But when angle is not there, do you know the length of AC? No, I don't know. When I don't know what exactly the length of AC is, how can I compare? Because we need to go in detail what exactly the understanding of AC is going to be. Now, a triangle could have been 3, 4, and 4. Instead of 3, 4, and 5, this could be 3, 4, and 4 also. Could be. Now, tell me one thing. I want to ask you guys one more thing, which is very important, and that is, if you guys can tell me, in the triangle ABC, which is the longest side? Do you guys know which is the longest side? Now, I'm again getting answers. The answers are AC, AC. I'm getting longest side as AC, AC, AC. Now try and understand. Your eyes were saying that B is 90 initially. Some of your eyes, like some of you guys were saying angle B is 90 because you were not able to see that angle B is 90, but still you were assuming. I've been clear with this point, guys, that we were assuming that D is 90. Now we are assuming that AC is the longest side, because what we can see here, we can see angle B is also 90 on the basis of looks, but we don't know. So there's a very clear understanding, but we are assuming lot many things. When we are assuming, which means there is a chance of mistake. Now, ETS or GRE says figures are not drawn to scale. That's one very clear word they mention. Figures are not drawn to scale. So reading, understanding the situation and understanding concept. But apart from that, where exactly the testing? We had to understand what are the rules and regulations. So each and everything matters a lot. So understanding the concept is one thing, but where exactly we are applying, how they're testing you. Is this angle is 90 or we are assuming? Is this the longest side? We are assuming. So we're assuming. Because figures are not drawn to scale, quite possible BC could be the longest side. Because figures are not drawn to scale. That's what exactly ETS is saying. So we have to take care of each and everything. So we have to consider like each and every aspect on what basis they're testing, because we need to understand what is the skill set required. Let's say we start spending time. So how much time we should spend? Where to practice? We should practice geometry, because this has this thing that figures are not drawn to scale. So this can create an issue. So we need to understand which area is important. And how we can understand this. Yes, Aishwarya, the figure is a bluff. They're just giving you the basic understanding that the ABC is a triangle. They're not saying it's a right angle triangle. So it's a game. Just try and understand it's a game. And you have to clear all the chapters. You have to win this game. They're not giving you pass or fail in this, but they're giving you how can you improve on your score. That's it. By taking care of each and every factor. So it's not a random situation, because we need to understand in and out of the exam. And that's why this webinar is placed, like to understand what are the key areas we need to take care of. Because what you will be getting, this is the brief idea. Like if you guys can see, this is about the whole exam. You will be getting 4 to 5 questions of numbers. You'll be getting 3 to 4 questions of inequalities, 7 to 8 questions of geometry. Oh, yes. 3 to 5 questions of stats, coordinate, PNC, Venn diagram. But if you see, I've mentioned PNC and probability with 1 or 2 questions, which means those 2 topics and just 1 or 2 questions. Data interpretation, again, 7 to 8 questions, which means you guys can understand where to focus on, which areas you need to practice more. Because after this, when you're going to switch to, because I know PNC and probability is an area, like I've heard in the last 10 plus years that PNC and probability, it's like nightmare. But for some, okay, it's very easy. I'm just trying to understand when this is a nightmare, and let's say I'm just start practicing. I can't spend 3 to 4 days. Yeah, this is a brief idea, not for everything. For example, I have not included few areas like percentage or interest here. But yes, this is just to give you an idea what areas we'll be working on for the complete test. Like one question, 7 to 8 questions of geometry in the whole section, whole test of 40 questions, in which 2 quant sections are going to be. Like data interpretation is 7 to 8 questions. So this is just to give the brief idea how and what is important. I hope we are able to understand what I'm trying to relate there. That try and prioritize things on the basis of what is to be asked, not on the basis what you fear or what you are comfortable in. Because we always try and practice those areas in which we are comfortable. We always, because we have to manage our time. We have to understand each and everything is important. Time management is going to play a very, very important role. I can't just start practicing Venn diagrams and I can practice for 3 days. I practicing geometry for just 1 or 2 days and practicing Venn diagram for 3 days because I'm comfortable in Venn diagrams. Maybe that's why. So you need to understand what is important. So time management is going to play a very, very important role. Where to spend more time, where to spend less time. Let's move ahead. What exactly your quant part is going to be, because we had discussed about the sex structure. We have discussed about what exactly the type of question is going to be. Sania, exponents, inequalities, everything is there in algebra only. So I'm not related on the basis of algebra, arithmetic, data geometry, and data answers. I've just given you topics because you guys are more comfortable and understanding. Yep. We'll talk about that later part of this webinar, Dhananjay. I hope that clears. We have talked about what exactly the different types of questions going to be. We have talked about what exactly the areas we'll be working on. Let's talk about what exactly the math question is going to be. How can we relate? Okay, such kind of problems we'll be working on. What are the areas in math questions we'll be working on? In each math question, we're going to talk about concept. We need to talk about the basic concepts. So if you see, like I had asked you one question about geometry, and that was too about like triangle and angle, but that was a basic concept to understand. Okay, this is a triangle. Okay, right angle triangle looks like, okay, it's a right angle triangle. But apart from concepts, we should know the question also. So understanding the question in depth, which is important. We should understand what exactly we are learning, for what we are learning. Understanding question plays a very, very important role. Sometimes we know the concept, but not able to understand the question. And the approach, the method you're following, the idea, the understanding, how are you going to solve the problem? Let's say if I ask a problem, you guys right now, and what do you think? Like, chances going to be different. Okay, each and every person has got a different way of solving the problem. Yes, because we have a different thought process. In the previous question also, I saw different answers. I saw answer as A, and saw answer as C also, answer as D also. I was getting different answers. Definitely your thought process, your approach, your understanding, each and everything matters. So concepts are important. Yes, concepts are important. Understanding the question is also important. Approach, that's huge thing. What method you're following. So it's not just random. Just to relate this idea, how basic concepts going to be, and why I'm saying those are very important ideas to understand. The basic concepts, like if I relate as you guys heard Pemdas earlier? Anyone? You guys heard Pemdas? Great. Great. Anyone who's never heard of Pemdas? Okay. You just heard, okay. Someone is saying, okay, you guys, some of you never heard Pemdas. And one of you guys saying like we use BODMAS. Is it like BODMAS? What is the difference here? What is the idea here? Pemdas is same as BODMAS, or there is any difference? Let's talk about Pemdas here, because Pemdas is going to play a very important role here. I'm not saying BODMAS is not going to play, because Pemdas is internationally in new books also. Most of the time you're going to see word Pemdas. But what exactly it is and how basic it is, why we should understand this. For example, just to give you an idea, P stands for parenthesis. Parentheses are brackets. Okay, that's what exactly B stands for. B is also brackets. So how it is different? No, I'm not saying that it is BODMAS, but I'm saying P stands for parenthesis. That is brackets. Okay, that's fine. B is also brackets in our terms. E is for exponents. Oh, E is for exponents. But what is O in your terms? What is O, guys? Anyone? In BODMAS, what is O? Off. Okay, something new. Order. Yes, I got the right answer. Pedraj is saying order. This is order. What is order? 3 raised to the power 2, the order is 2. X raised to the power 2, the order is 2. This is also the exponent. Okay, this is also the exponent. Isn't it off? Off is nothing. Off is not a operation. What sequence? Off is just a multiplication. Never heard of off here. It's an order. Order is the power, like exponent. Okay, if I see BODMAS is actually parenthesis, leading B is for bracket, O is for order, which is exponent. M is what? Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. What is your division, multiplication, addition, subtraction? So don't you think exactly same? BODMAS is exactly same as Pemdas. So why we are not following Pemdas? Because at least it's giving you the clear picture. E is for exponents. It's not confusing here that O is for off or order. O is for other bracket. I've heard like some of like my student they were saying O is for other bracket. I don't know which bracket, but some other bracket. So we have developed our own BODMAS, but I don't know why. So we will be following Pemdas throughout. But how it is important? Why I'm saying Pemdas is that important? Just try and solve this idea and just figure out the process. Can you guys solve this? If I can get the answer. I'm getting answers, which means you're good at like understanding, solving the problem, which is absolutely perfect. So I'm getting 4. So what I did, I solved it. So this is 4 minus of 4 and plus of 4. Is that we're saying? This 4 is cancelled with this 4 and left with 4. That's what I was able to relate here. I hope everyone is clear with this fact that we have used some calculation here. That's what we've done. If you guys can help me in solving this, what is this? Okay, now I can see the variation. The previous part, the answer was like 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Now I'm started getting the variation. Now the importance of Pemdas is here. Why we are getting 0? Okay, once again, I'm writing the previous expression. Do you guys see this? Previously, I was getting 4. Why? Because 4 of minus 4 plus 4, and that was giving 4. Now, what I've done, I've removed 1 4 from the expression. Then what should be the answer? Okay, let me just go back what I said. Here I'm getting 4, but why I'm getting 4? Because 4 is as it is, minus of 2 square, that is minus 4, plus 4 I'm getting as 4. Okay. If I just remove 1 4 from the expression, the answer has to be 0. But why 8? Why I'm getting answers as 8? Okay. Here the importance of Pemdas, which is parenthesis, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. First, we have to solve the exponent. And the exponent we are solving, which is giving you 4. So minus of 4 plus 4 is giving you 0. It's not giving you 8. Tell me one more expression. If I write, which is 4 minus of 2 square, what exactly here it's going to be? Yes. Yeah. This is 0. So each and everything matters a lot. How comfortable you are. How things can be relatable, this process. So after the basic concepts, we need to understand that understanding the concept is fine, but understanding the question also plays a very, very important role. So for example, here in this problem, if you guys can see the problem, we guys can solve this simultaneously. What is happening here? If you see, it's a lengthy problem. Sanchit, that is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. BODMAS is brackets, order, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. That's the same process. There's no change. Yeah. Okay, let's move ahead. Why we are here to understand what is required to get 170. But why I'm dealing with such basic ideas about basic concepts that we should know Pemdas, because these are the areas where we are making careless mistakes. These are the areas where we are not trying to understand what is the situation going on and the way we are reacting. Let's try and understand this problem. And let's try and solve this question to relate this. Let's say this question, a room has to be painted. Worker A does 1/3 of the work and then leaves. I don't know how much work is actually. I don't know how much work is. I'm assuming some work. I'm taking work to be 1. Okay. When A does 1/3 of the work, how much work is left? From 1, we subtracted 1/3 and I'm left with 2/3. I'm getting answers. I started getting answers. Great work. But what is happening here? Let's try and understand the question. Why we are saying this is the question where we should know what exactly the question is happening. Next worker B does 1/4 of the remaining. Next worker B does how much? B does 1/4 of the remaining. That means 1/4 of remaining. And that is 1/6. Okay, this much work is done by B. So how much is left? So from 2/3, if you subtract 1/6, I'm left with 1/2 of the work, which means half the work is left. Okay. And then leaves. Okay. Finally, worker C does 1/5 of the remaining work and then leaves. Okay, C does how much? 1/5 of remaining. That means 1/5 of the remaining work. That is the remaining work. That means 1/10. So when you're going to subtract, because C has done this much of work and this much was left previously, and C has done this much. So I'm left with 1/2 minus 1/10. And that means, if you can relate, this is the area 4/10. And that is equivalent to 2/5. I got many answers as 2/5. Great work. So this is the answer. Is this much of calculation is required, or this much calculation is normally going to be there? I repeat, is this much calculation is required, that this much understanding we need to know? Yes, Anya, just a second. So I'm just relating this once again. Work is this much. A does 1/3. What does that mean? If A does 1/3, which means from 1, if A does 1/3, I'm left with 2/3. B does 1/4 of remaining. This is the remaining work. B does 1/4 of remaining, that is 1/6. From 2/3, if we just remove how much B has done, from 2/3, I've subtracted what B has done, I'm left with half. And after B, sorry, C does 1/5 of remaining, 1/5 of 1/2, and that means 1/10. So from 1/2, I've subtracted what C has done, I'm left with 2/5. That's what exactly has happened. I asked, like, is this the right way of doing, or yes, this is the right way of doing. There's no problem in this. There is no difficulty in this. But yes, we are facing a challenge because we're dealing with fractions here. I asked, is this like too much of calculation work is required? Dhananjay, why you said that calculation work is not required, this much calculation work is not required? I just want to know, like, what is going in your mind? Okay. So Dhananjay is adding a concept here that he took LCM. I don't know what is LCM right now because we're not dealing with maths today. We're dealing what kind of skill set is required. So we're not talking about LCM or HCF or anything today. Okay, guys, we're not talking about that. But try and understand. I just want to ask you the same problem once again. I want to share what exactly the thought process is going on. We took total work as 1 and we solved the problem. My point is, if I solve the same question, what kind of skill set is required to answer GRE maths? Now, when I'm saying what kind of skill set is required to answer GRE maths, that means we need to understand what is going on and how we should solve. In this question, when I'm saying the GRE maths, what kind of skill set is required? Yes, Dhananjay is taking LCM. If I just say simply, don't go too much there, just take the total work as a product of denominators, whenever the situation is. But why are we doing this? Let's do this. A does 1/3 of the work, B does 1/4 of the remaining work, and C does 1/5 of the remaining work. That's what has happened. Why we took the total work is 3, 4, and 5. That is 60. Because when A does 1/3 and 1/3 of 60 is 20, so I'm left with 40. Okay, this is pretty easy. When I'm saying 1/4 of remaining, what does that mean? 1/4 of remaining, that means 1/4 of 40, and that means 10. So B does only 10 units. How much is left? 30 is left. And C does 1/5 of remaining, 1/5 of 30, and that is 6. So which means 24 is remaining. If you see, okay, this is not that clustered or like too much of calculation work on the basis of fractions. It is a bit simpler version because I'm just left with 24 out of 60. And that is also equivalent to 2 by 5. Okay, I have answered this way. Now, I just want to ask you guys, Dhananjay or anyone those who tried this 60, is this a shortcut or this is a convenient method? From all of you, actually. Is this a shortcut or a convenient method? Just do remember what I'm asking you. I'm not saying what is a shortcut. I'm asking this method is convenient method or a shortcut? Because you need to understand what we are doing here. To get 170, we doesn't need shortcuts. We don't need. I repeat, we do not want shortcuts here. We need convenient method. Everyone understood what exactly we did here? We took the total work as 60. Then we start dividing. Okay, A does 1/3. Okay, then B does 1/4 of remaining. Okay, then C does 1/5 of remaining. Okay, then we are left with 24 remaining out of 60. Or let's say we have 60 chocolates to distribute. A took 1/3, B took 1/4 of remaining, C took 1/5 of remaining, and how much are we left? We left 24 chocolates out of 60. And if you apply the same method, another problem, let's take another problem. If we just try and understand how this skill set is going to work in GRE. Let's see. A straight pipe 1 yard in length. Okay, this time if you see a straight pipe 1 yard in length, let me take a straight pipe. I'm taking a straight pipe, guys. This is a straight pipe. This pipe is 1 yard in length, was marked off in fourths and also in thirds. Okay, let's mark. We have to mark. Mark means like this. You have to mark. What is fourth? Anyone wants to help me? What is fourth? Yep. Fourth is 1 by 4. And third is 1 by 3. Okay. We have to mark here. But how are we going to mark? This length is 1 yard. So how can we mark in fourth and third? Okay. Let's make it simple. A bit simpler here. Let's not take 1 yard. Let's take 12 yards. You guys know why I took 12 yards? You guys will be able to relate why I took 12 yards. Yes, Lassie, it's absolutely right. We took the product of 4 and 3. So instead of 1 yard, I'm taking 12 yards. But how it is helping? Because 12 yards is there, 1/4 means 3 yards. And 1/3 means 4 yards. No, I'm getting a clear picture. What does that mean? Because 1/4 means 3 yards. If you just mark on 3, 6, 9, and 12. If you can see, I've divided 1/4. This region is 1/4. This region is 1/4. This region is 1/4. This region is 1/4. I hope everyone is clear what is 1/4. This is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. Obviously, I'm not dealing in fractions now. I'm just dealing in, we have to mark. After that, we have to divide in thirds also. Okay, let's mark on thirds. What is going to be third? Third is 4 units. So first third is going to be here. Second is going to be here. And third is going to be here. If you can see, you have 1/3. This region is 1/3. This region is 1/3. And this region is 1/3. If you can see, you have 3 regions, 1, 2, and 3. So yes, it's absolutely working now. But this is more convenient. It's not a shortcut, it's a convenient. Instead of taking 1 yard, we took 12 yards. Now it's getting convenient. How it's getting convenient? Because now if you see the question further, if the pipe was then cut into separate pieces at each of these markings, we have to cut pipe from here, we have to cut pipe from here, these markings. Okay. Now the question is, which of the following gives all the different lengths of the pieces? Okay, one length I'm going to get, that is 3. This length is going to be 1. This length is going to be 2. This length is going to be 2. This length is 1. And this length is 3. So if you see, more or less, we're getting 3 different lengths. One length is 3, one length is 1, and one length is 2. But these are the lengths out of 12 yards. These are the lengths out of 12 yards, which means out of 1 yard, it is going to be 3 by 12, 1 by 12, and 1 by 6. So this is equivalent to 1 by 4. This is equivalent to 1 by 6. So I can see 1 by 4 is 1 length, 1 by 12 is 1 length, and 1 by 6 is 1 length. And that means these are the different lengths I'm getting. I repeat, these are the different lengths I'm getting. So question was expressed. Okay, we need to understand the language also. So understanding question is very important. Understanding the language is very important. Concept, yes, is part of the system, but understanding the question is going to play a very, very important role. And what method you are following. That's the whole idea, to understand the structure, what all we need to work on. And yes, these are the very minor things which is going to take you to 170, because they're going to consider each and every factor, because you have to spend 35 minutes and answer those 20 questions. You have to mark those 20 questions correct in 35 minutes. So time is going to play very important. You can't just spend any random time like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, 2 minutes by answering a problem. It depends how much time you're spending. So yes, it matters a lot. Let's move ahead. Let's move further. Now, let's talk about approach. Why I was saying approach is important, and how it is important in GRE to relate this idea. Dhananjay, you want me to rub this? Okay, let's move ahead. Let's talk about just one thing. Sylvie, because this question was talking about 1 yard. So these lengths like 3, 1, and 2, these are the lengths out of 12 yards. Out of 12 yards. But we had to calculate it out of 1 yard. So that's why we divided by 12 to make it out of 1 yard. Yep, great. Okay. I don't want you to take it to like the situation that it's a very difficult situation. No, it's not a difficult situation. It's a very easy situation. But we need to understand where to focus on. We need to focus on concepts. Yes, we need to focus on concepts. We need to focus on language. Yes, we need to focus on language. What else we need to focus on? We need to focus on language also. And apart from that, we need to focus on approach. What method we are following. For example, let's talk about this question and think it is relatable. I can see this is a gray part, which is a area that is gray, but this is white. Okay. That's what I can look at the figure and understand first. PQRS is a square. Okay, this is important. It's a square. Square means all sides are equal. Okay. If QR is 7, when I'm saying QR is 7, that means all sides are equal. Okay. RU is equals to US. That means if this is 7 by 2, this is also 7 by 2. PT is equal to TS. That means this length is 7 by 2. This is also 7 by 2 because these are midpoints. Okay, so far I understood this much. Which of the following is a ratio of the area of the shaded region? Okay, I need to figure out what. Shaded region divided by, because I'm looking for the ratio, to the total area of the square. That's what exactly we're looking for. But what is the situation? How are we trying to figure out this? How are we going to calculate this? So far I understood I need to figure out area of this portion. I need to figure out area of this portion. There are different ideas to relate, but still I can see this is the area which is required. What I'm getting here, what I would have done if I had calculated area of this triangle, that means half base into height. And from that triangle, I should have subtracted this one. But why am I subtracting? Because with this help, I can figure out the area of the remaining portion. If I subtract half base into height, what I've done, from this triangle, the larger triangle, I've subtracted the smaller triangle, which is giving you the shaded portion. But this is not sufficient because after that, I have to divide with the area of the triangle, the complete square. What is the area of square? Which is 7 into 7. That is, okay, I should know some formulas also, but which formulas? To the level, we're talking about area of a triangle is half into base into height. We're talking about the area of square, which is side into side. We're talking about area of rectangle is length into width. So this much is required. Yes, this much is required. Definitely this much is required. When I'm saying this much is required, so okay, this calculation is important. Yes, this calculation is important. But I can see this calculation would have been difficult. Guys, I'm just getting one question that I'm not audible. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Check. Can you guys hear me? Sanchit, you just need to log in again. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Just a second. Okay. So we need to understand what is the right approach. Is this the right approach? Yes, this is fine. There's no problem at all. I'm just going to calculate the ratio. My simple point is what we're going to do if the side would have been, let's say, 177. If side would have been 177, what am I going to do? I'm going to do the same thing. Yes, I'm going to do the same thing because that's what the formula says. That's what the formula is saying. Half into base into height, half into base into height, divided by the area of square. That's what the situation is going on. Can we do something else? We can try. We can try. I'm not saying there's no guarantee that we can do definitely something else. We can think about what we had studied earlier, that is square. What is a square? Square is a four-sided polygon. All sides are equal, all angles are equal. Okay. Where diagonals divide the figure in equal areas. What I said? Diagonals divides the figure in equal area. But why? Which means this diagonal is dividing the area in equal parts. Yes, this area is going to be same as this area. But how is it impacting and how it is useful actually? Because when you're going to divide, and let's try and form. What I've done, I took a mirror image, or you can say symmetry is there. Why? So when you're going to fold along PR, and you're going to fold this part, you will be forming almost the same portion here also, if you can relate. You will be forming this. But how it is useful? Let's say I'm saying this is X and this is Y. So this will be X and this will be Y again, because there is a symmetry. Square is a symmetric figure. Circle is a symmetric figure. Rectangle is a symmetric figure. Rhombus is a symmetric figure. Rectangle is along midpoints by joining. Diagonal is rhombus is along diagonal. Circle is along diameter. So these are symmetric figures. What does that mean? That means whatever the right portion is going to be, the same portion is going to be left. How it is helping in solving this problem? So when I'm going to solve this problem, let's divide this figure in equal regions by joining midpoints. Is it really going to help? Yes, because I'm saying right portion is going to be same as the left portion. Right portion is going to be same as the left portion. Okay, so if you see along this midpoint by joining midpoints, the right portion is exactly same as the left portion. Along the diagonal also, the right portion is exactly same as the left portion. But how is it helping? Because the question is about area of the shaded portion, that is X, X and X, that means 3X. Because I'm looking for the ratio, divided by area of the square, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm getting 3 by 8. So I'm not saying that this is a calculation zone that we will be doing, end up doing calculation. Yes, we did calculation in previous problem, but are we going to do the calculation here again? No, it depends upon the situation and the method, the approach you are using. You need to understand which method you are following. Approach matters a lot. So yes, concept is important, understanding is important, approach is important. And that makes it the complete exam. And that's how we will be relating this idea. Now, we're going to talk about one very important thing about GRE, that is about examination, how the relation is going to be and how you're going to react to that. And that thing is going to be that is data interpretation, or you can say data analysis. why it is important? Why I'm saying this is important, data interpretation is important. I think you guys missed one thing. Initially, I had mentioned that you will be getting 7 to 8 questions of data interpretation. Okay, so 7 to 8, which means equivalent to geometry. Okay, which means if you see 7 to 8 questions will be answering for sure. And if I say 8 questions out of 40 questions, so that's a huge percentage. That is 20% of your examination, which means 20% of your exam is just based on this. And 20% for me is a huge thing. And for you also. Similarly here, geometry is also taking 20%, approximately 20% relation. So yes, data interpretation is going to play a very important role. Now we're just going to talk about and understand what is data interpretation and which type of questions we're going to get. Because again, as I was telling you, each and everything matters. How the exam is going to be, what are you getting, which type of questions you're getting, how you're changing your approach, how you're changing your style, which kind of skill set is required. Yeah. Abhinav, the point is, I never say those are silly mistakes. Those are very stupid mistakes because if instead of multiplying, I'm dividing, or instead of multiplying with 1 by 3, I'm just multiplying with 3. So that's not a silly mistake. So we need to understand where exactly we are. So we are practicing this way so that we can understand where to go. If we'll keep making such silly mistakes, then there's no point. So we have to work on it. We need to understand where exactly we make mistakes. So silly mistakes are very crucial if you see. So I want to cut down my silly mistakes, but why we are making, we need to understand that. And we are making those silly mistakes by just overthinking. Let me just share one problem with you with the data interpretation and you'll get an idea what I'm saying. We overanalyze, we overthink. Okay, we spend too much of time and understanding why. Yes, why is important, but don't overanalyze it. You need to stop there at a point and then move to the next one. Like this question. This is an official problem. I'm sharing official problems with you. You'll get an idea how official problem is going to look like and what exactly you'll be doing. Now, if you see, we're getting 2 graphs here, and reading graph is not a task because we normally read newspaper. We normally understand the data, what is going on right now, like COVID, and I'm pretty sure that after COVID, it's creating new data set. It's creating new data, which is gonna help in understanding the situation, everything. So reactions are important. Yes, reactions are important, but data you're getting, which is huge right now. So same here, you're getting a data and you never read newspaper 2-3 times to understand that. You guys read newspaper 2-3 times to understand what is going in the data, what is going in the COVID system. You guys read once or twice to understand, like you read 3-4 times to understand, okay, what is data, what is data, what is data, where, what is mean, what is median. We just read it once, we just take our overlook, okay, what is going on, and then we move ahead. Let's same thing we're going to do here. Okay, this data is about income, this data is about expenditure. Okay, there are some areas from where expenditure is, there are some income is. And one more thing we are reading important, which is 60 million is here and 60 million is here, okay, which means whatever we had income, the same we had spent, okay, which was fine. Let's read the question. So if you see, I just spent 10 to 15 seconds on understanding this data. I got one answer from you guys, which is 11.7. Now we need to understand what is right and what is wrong. Approximately, okay, the word approximately is coming. Okay. How much of agency's income was provided by contributed commodities? Okay, I know the total income is this. This is the total income. What is contributed commodities? Okay, I can search. This is here. Okay, so 19.5% of 60 million is contributed by, okay, this is the section from where it is coming. Now, Vamesh calculated it is coming 11.7. So the question is, I should write 11.7. Okay, now, if you guys relate this and try and think of a situation, what I'm saying, do you guys know approximately what was the average score in your class 12th? Average math score in your class 12th? Anyone? So are you guys gonna say the average was like 64.3, or average was approximately 65 or 66? Or you're gonna say approximately 81.9 or approximately 80? Which is approximately? Approximately is 81.9 or approximately 80? Which is approximately? Not a whole number. Definitely, we're not saying whole number, but which gives you the best estimate. So I'm calculating 19.5% of 60 million. What if I calculate 20% of 60 million? If you see, my calculation work has gone down. I don't know what is 19.5 into 6 is. And even I don't want to know. I know calculator is there in examination, but now the point is they are looking for 11.7 or 12 because this is an official problem. Again, I'm saying this is an official problem. They are looking for this. They are not looking for this. They are not looking for this. They are looking for this, which means we should know how to handle this exam, because getting 170 is very easy. But if you're doing the right job, now we should not overthink. That's why I was saying that we overthink, we overanalyze, we do everything extra. We should do with a strategy. We should understand what is required, and then we should move. Preparation should not be random. It should be the way it is required. I hope everyone understood what I'm trying to relate here in this problem. Let's do one or two more problems on data so that you get the understanding. Let's do, because you get 7 to 8 questions of data answers. Let me just tell you the pattern. In each section, you will be getting 3 questions on same data set. That means you will be getting 3 questions on same data set. Let's say this is the data set. So you will be getting 3 questions, same data set, which means like this, like this, the same data set. The same data set is used to solve 3 different problems. This is what exactly is going to happen. That's why we're keeping this webinar, to understand what exactly just GRE is going to be and how we'll be reacting to it. This let's do one more question before we move ahead, and it'll give you better understanding. Yes, Sanchit, because approximately is written there. They're not going for exact calculation. They're saying just the rough idea, not exact calculation. Again, I'm saying this is the official problem. That's what exactly they're looking for. They're not looking for exact answers. They could have asked you exact answer. There's no hard and fast rule. Whatever they want, they're asking you. So it doesn't mean that they forgot to ask you exact answer. That's what exactly their intention is. That's how you'll be able to wrap up your 20 questions in 35 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough call. Like here, if you see, in year X, okay, we're talking about year X, 1/3 of agency's refugee housing expenditure. 1/3 of refugee housing expenditure. Okay, we're talking about 1/3 of Refugee housing expenditure, that is 12.4% of 60 million. Okay. 1/5 of emergency workers expenditure. Okay, I'm saying 1/5 of emergency workers expenditure. Okay. But if you see, I'm not reading the whole question in one go. Yes, Raman. Exact answer is not required. That's wrong. So we need to understand what is required. A requirement is very important. That is going to be incorrect. Okay, tell me if I ask you, approximately how many chapatis will you eat? You will say 3, 4. If I ask you how many chapatis will you eat, you will give me the exact number. If you're not giving me exact answer, which means that is your problem. So you have to give me exact number. So we're never going to say, okay, 1.3 chapatis I'll eat, or I'm going to say 1.7 chapatis I'll eat. That's not approximately, that's exact. So we need to relate this. So when I'm solving this, so if you see, I'm not reading the whole question. We need to strategize things because that's what the method is. We never read the whole question in one go. We read it one by one. Like the first part I read, I have written somewhere here. The next part I read, 1/5 of emergency worker expenditure. That's what I've done here. 1/4 of commodities expenditure. 1/4 of commodities expenditure. Commodities expenditure is this 19.5% of 60. The next is 2/3 of post-disaster assistance. 2/3 of post-disaster. What is post-disaster? That is 13.1% of 60 million. Okay. Were directly related to one earthquake. The total of these expenditure was approximately how many $1 million? I need to figure out total of these expenditures. Now, one thing. There's a lot many things happening. First, I calculate 12.4% of 60, and then I calculate 1/3 of that. Then I calculate 1/5 of 20.3 of 60. So first I calculate 20.3% of 60, and then I do that. Or what else if I just do it? Just see this. I'm taking 1/3 of, guys, this is very important here. Just understand this. I'm not taking 1/3 of 12.4. I'm taking 1/3 of 12. What is 1/3 of 12? 4%. Okay. Next, I'm taking 1/5 of 20.3%. No, not 20.3%. 1/5 of 20%. What is 1/5 of 20%? One-fifth of 20% is again. Yes, it's 4%. Okay. Okay, 1/4 of 19.5%. But why I'm doing this? Because approximately is a word. I don't need to get into that calculation work. So 1/4 of 19.5 is no, not 1/4 of 19.5. 1/4 of 20. Yes, Dhananjay, absolutely right. That is 5%. Okay, now the call is, how are we going to calculate 2/3 of 13.1? How are we going to calculate 2/3 of 13.1? What should I take? I should take 12. I should take 15. Just giving you idea what I've done. Okay, what is 13 twos is 26. So 13.1 twos is going to be more than 26. So I'm taking 9%. You need to understand what are the tips and tricks we can share. I'm repeating. 13 twos is 26. So 13.1 twos is a bit more than 26. So I'm written 27/3, which is 9%. All these are expenditures out of 60 million. So now question is still not completed. If you see how much approximation we are doing, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 5, Okay, 8 plus 5 is going, okay, this is a calculation. Is this a calculation? 8 plus 5 is 13. And 13 plus 9 is 22. Okay, calculation is there. Calculation is there. Which means I'm saying 22% of 60 million. I hope everyone got what I'm doing here. I have not calculated this first. I have not calculated this first and not calculated this. And then I took 1/3, 1/5, 1/4, 2/3, and then I have addition. No, I just simply did 1/3 of 12, 1/5 of 20, 1/4 of 20, 2/3 of 13.1. And that's how I did it. Tell me what is 20% of 60 million? You guys know what is 20% of 60 million? Anyone? 20% of 60 million? Not Vaishnavi, this is not 30. So 20% of 60 million is how much? Yes, Sanchit, absolutely right. Sylvia, absolutely right. That is 12. So definitely 22% is going to be definitely more than that. Are you guys clear what I'm saying? You're not even calculating 22% of 60 million. Just try and understand, you're not even calculating 22% of 60 million, you're calculating 20% of 60, and that is 12. So definitely 20% is going to be more than that. And that is 13 from the options. So we need to take care of each and everything. Why we are marking 13. 13 is not an exact answer. This is an approximate answer. I hope everyone understood what I'm trying to relate here. The overall relation here. What exactly is going to give you 170? Each and everything is important, but whatever you're doing, that has to be a strategic pattern, not just a random pattern. What do you guys think? Like, do you guys want to do one more DI problem, or let's just move ahead? Great. So there are many problems, guys, many problems. Okay, let's do a very simple problem, no calculation work, okay? Only the concept, okay? Let's do it on a different idea, okay? Just see this. Of the following, which means refugee, emergency, post-disaster, new investment, commodities, what is that? Okay. The category that had expenditures most nearly equal to average expenditure. Okay, how do we calculate average? Average, we calculate sum divided by number of terms. What is the sum? 60 million. Okay. Divided by number of terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And then I do this. Okay, it's not in person, it's in dollars. 6. But the data is given in the percentage form. The data is given in percentage. So what should I do? Let's do one thing. Now we need to understand this 60 million is actually 100%. You guys clear with this point? The 60 million is actually what? 100%. When 60 million is 100%, how many categories? We have 10 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 categories. So average percentage is going to be 10%. Average percentage is going to be 10%. Now it's easy to understand, okay, which one is close to 10%, because most nearly equal to average. So new investments is most nearly equal to average, and that is D. So if you guys getting, hardly I'm doing any calculation work. Hardly. I could have done calculation work, but that is not required. I hope everyone must have got the in and out what exactly. Yes, Sanchit. Sanchit, we're talking about the whole thing is percentage. So this expenditure remains the whole 100%. The whole 100% average categories, because there are 10 categories. So average is going to be 10% per category. Sanjay, you understood what I'm saying? 100% is total and there are 10 categories. So average per category is going to be 10%. So which of the following categories is most nearly equal to average? So which of the following categories is close to 10%? Only one I can see, which is new investments, and that is D. Yes, absolutely right. Yeah. This was not at all required, because this was making complicated. So we need to understand method, the requirement, what is required. So each and everything is planned. We just need the right method to execute it. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's talk about what exactly we should do in quants, like what plan we should follow. Actually, we should actually work on concepts initially. Initially, concepts are important because over the period of time, we must have forgotten or maybe overheard, or like the situation was like, okay, I heard there was some co-interior angles, but I forgot what were co-interior angles. I know there is a right angle triangle, but I should know what is symmetry. Yes, I should know each and everything. After practicing, we should switch to topic-wise practice, and that's very more important because there you can understand where to focus on. And the testing, because testing is gonna take you to different level, because stamina building, because you have to sit for 4 hours. Guys, you need to understand you have to sit for 4 hours. You have to give your best shot for 4 hours. It's not a 1 or 2 hours task. It's a 4 hours lengthy test. And you have to keep giving your best. You can't just say, okay, I was not able to relate here, I was not able to relate there. I have to give him a best shot for 4 hours. So if you guys have any queries related to anything like quant, GRE, what we should do, where to give, when to give, you can just drop your number here, direct chat, okay, and we can get back to you. Ananya, OG is the official guide. OG is the official guide. Let me get. That is from ETS. So if you guys have any queries related to anything, right now we can talk. If you guys have any question, you can just write here, or you can just drop your number. We can get back to you and we can discuss that in with you. So everything is fine. Let's move ahead. Let's talk about what exactly we have learned so far and where to focus on. There's no prize. Again, you just need to drop your number, Ananya, and our team will get in touch with you. Akshar, building profile, it's not just based on how good your academics are. Building profile means everything. It's about every situation. What you have done in past, what are you going to do in future, what you're doing right now, it's everything. So there's a team of counselors, they deal with this, and they give you idea where to focus on, what are the key areas, what exactly your skill set is, and what you should do, how can you improve on your skill set. You can do this, you can do that, you can do some projects, you can do, depends where exactly you're building, where exactly you're targeting. So you should build your profile exactly what exactly you're aiming in future, so that will be helpful. So I can't just join dance classes and improve on my profile, or I can't just join some random classes or random courses. I should know where I'm going and I should build accordingly where to focus on. So it's not random. So counselor is going to analyze your profile and then they're going to react to this, what you should do. Okay. So what all we need? We need a strategic plan. Like it should not be random that, okay, let's practice this, let's practice that. So it should be a plan accordingly. Like, okay, this much I'll be doing, this much I'll be doing. And then it should not cross like a random time, like, okay, I'll be preparing for 5-7 months and then I'll be doing this time. It's just 100 or 120 days program. It's not going to take more than that. It's just like the sufficient time to give GRE and move ahead. It's not going to take more than that. This is the best conclusive time we can spend on GRE and we can move ahead. Because overall, what you have seen so far, like whatever questions we had discussed, that it's not important how many questions you're practicing, because you're practicing 10,000 questions, you're practicing 5,000 questions, you're practicing 100 questions. If you're practicing 100 questions by understanding what you're doing, what is required, then definitely we need to focus on why we are doing this. It's not about how many questions we have to do. It's not about how many questions we'll be doing overall. Ruchira, the point is, there's no best and worst time situation. So after your preparation, as you guys, you'll be giving mock tests, like depends when you are ready with the situation. So you can book exam date in 3 to 5 days. So you can book your exam date the day. Let's say you start getting, okay, I'm targeting 117 quant and 165 in verbal. Let's say I'm targeting 116 quant and 116 verbal. So the day I start getting that score, in 2-3 days time, I'll book the exam date and move on. So it's not that I just want to take a burden like, okay, I have booked a date for 30th April and I just need to prepare it. No. So the day you start getting the score, ideally it should be July, August around, not beyond that. That will be more than sufficient. Okay. Because most of the colleges, they're going to open their deadlines and that's how the admission process is going to work. But yes, you should give exam in 100 to 120 days of from the day you start preparing. So that is best time to give. So let's say you start preparing from 1st of May. So just count on 100 to 120 days. Fix it. Okay, this day I'll be giving exam and prepare accordingly. Akshay, the point is, what I'm saying that why this question is asked, why approximation was written there. We need to know the reason. Practicing 1,000 questions will not help you. Practicing 100 questions by understanding why we are doing this, what we are doing here, that is important. Renuka, this webinar was about quant. So that's why, and I'm a quant faculty, so that's why I was just talking about quant. Okay. Then what you can do, Renika, you can just drop your number here and our team can get back to you and they can give you detail about verbal also. Akshay, again, that's not in this webinar zone. Again, you guys have any other queries related to quant, you can just drop your number here and our team can get back to you. That's going to be the best option because if you're going to talk about universities and everything, obviously I will not be able to help you. I can just talk about quant because we need to focus on understanding. Okay. Because ultimately you'll be getting score on the basis of how many correct or incorrect. It doesn't mean that how quick you did the exam. You did 20 questions in 20 minutes, it's not going to help. If you made few mistakes, definitely it's going to impact your score. So depends upon how good you are in understanding, and accuracy is important. Yes. Yes. But just the correct and incorrect, not the score. I missed Sanchit. Just a minute. Sanchit, earlier the best because it's a 5 years, you can say, available option. So at earlier the best because I don't know what situation is going to be, and I'll be busy somewhere. So you see 100 and 120 days are free in future. Let's say from today onwards, if you're 100 and 120, or let's say just take 10 days buffer, 130 days is free. So you can just start preparing right now and just move ahead. Because you don't know what is going to happen in December, what is going to happen in next year, what is going to happen in next year. So everything is like dicey, and how much time you'll be spending. Definitely, Sanjit, I hope you got an answer what I said. Okay. Yes, Roni, definitely. But depends, you need to spend more time, because whatever time you had, I have no idea what exactly your status right now, where you stand. You need to check, you need to give one or two tests to understand where you stand, and then you need to move ahead or increase the time. So depends how much time you can spend daily. I'm saying you can spend 10 hours a day, depends. Maybe you're working, maybe you can't. So you have to decide accordingly. But you need to give tests and understand where you stand, and you should speak to one of our experts to get the clarity where you stand and move ahead. Renuka, I think 150, that means strategy is the problem, not the practice. Because definitely you must have done practice then also, but strategies is a main concern. It's not difficult, Renuka, because you're not targeting 170, you're targeting 160 or more. So that is doable in 10 to 12 points, which means you need 6, 7, 8 questions correct. And then we can easily see. But for that, you need a score report that you can download diagnostic. There is a diagnosis available on diagnostic sheet available on your portal, the ETS portal. And you can download and you can see where exactly you made mistake. Wherever you have made mistake, you can just understand. Yes. But you need to download your diagnostic report, and post that, you're going to see where exactly the problem is, and then you can work accordingly. Let's say I'm just weak in stats, or let's say I'm weak in geometry, I'm weak in only data analysis. So I just need to work towards that, and I can improve my score. So we need to see where exactly you're making a mistake. And you just need right strategies to score. That's all. And as I discussed, stamina is important because it's a 4-hour test. It's not a 1 or 2-hour test. And you have to understand, okay, 4-hour test, which means with AWA. Sometimes we start practicing tests and we start giving mock tests, okay, without AWA also. But I would suggest stamina is only going to be tested when you're giving the full length test. It's not just quant and verbal. It's about the AWA also. If you guys have any question, you can just write in the chat, or you can drop your number. Renuka, the point is that's the choice we have right now. And my students have given exam last year when the lockdown, because this is like second innings of lockdown. Last year when the lockdown was started, like in April only, we had some webinars from my students, okay, how they gave exam, and in the online or the at home. So they did a great job. They were not able to relate where to write. So they end up taking different ways, different helps. But yes, that's how the situation we need to handle. So no suggestions for that at this moment. So internet is a major fight they faced. But yes, that's still beatable. That's not a task. Any particular topic, first you need to understand, Dhananjay, where exactly you're making mistakes. For example, just to give you an idea, Dhananjay, that I made 2 mistakes in numbers, because sometimes we make mistake because of previous problems also. Like I was not able to spend the right amount of time in the previous question. I spend a lot more time, more than required, and then I end up making mistakes in future questions. So we say, okay, these areas are weak. No, quite possible your previous questions had issue because of concept, maybe because of strategy, maybe because of approach. So we need to sit and decide which areas you're weak. It's not on the basis of mistakes only. Sometimes we end up making careless mistakes because of other questions. Just to give you an idea, like in GRE exam, that after geometry question, when you're going to get a percentage question, okay, you end up forming equation calculation, but the baggage is coming from geometry. You spend a hell lot of time on geometry that you're left with only 30 to 40 seconds answering a percentage question. So it doesn't mean a percentage is weak. So that thing needs to be analyzed properly. So you can't just randomly say any topic is weak. Yes, Shashikant, I was just reading your question that what is the difference between 165 plus and 170 in quant. So why you want to understand the difference? What are you targeting? The first question will be. So there's a difference of about 3 to 4 problems, 3 to 4 questions. Maybe 3 questions wrong, maybe 4 questions wrong, maybe 6 questions wrong. Yep. So, Shashikant, you need to understand which topics are weak. If those topics are weak, we can decide how many questions we'll be getting from those topics, approximately a brief idea, and then we can decide where to work on. Because 3, 4 questions, if I say randomly around, so 3, 4 questions, which areas you're weak, it depends on that. Sure. Take care, guys. So guys, if you guys have any question further, you can just drop your number in the chat and our team can get back to you. So that's all for this today. If you guys have any question, you can write in the chat, and again, our team can get back to you based on that. Okay. That's all from my side. So if you guys have any question, you can just drop here, or you can drop your number here. And thanks for attending, guys. Whatever is convenient, wherever you are available, so our team can get back to you. Thank you, Ramna. Welcome, Bhargav. Welcome, guys. So again, I'm saying, you guys have any queries, any question, you can just drop your number in the chat and we can get back to you. Aishwarya, when you start practicing and understanding concepts, you will see formulas are very limited, very limited. Some formulas in geometry, some formulas in numbers, and some formulas in stats, and that's it. If I just count on the list of formulas, how many formulas we're going to have, you're not going to see more than 40 formulas, 40, 50 formulas. And that's, I'm saying, like, more than enough. As again, I'm saying, if you guys have any question, any query related to anything in GRE, post GRE, pre GRE, you can just drop your number. Well, it's daily relatable if you're planning in August, which means you can spend 1.5 hours. That is more than sufficient. Again, I'm saying more than sufficient. But that's a very tricky question per day, because I don't know, you'll be spending daily or alternative days, or but if you're spending daily, then 1 hour is like more than sufficient. Because if you see like 7 hours of study in a week, which is too much, just for quant, because you have verbal also. But if you're planning in August, because you have 3 months time, that's May, June, July, and then August. So more than 3 months time, that will be sufficient. And its whole depends upon where you stand. Let's say I've not done maths in last 10 years. I'm planning for, let's say, a PhD. I haven't done maths in last 10 years. What should I do? So I never touched maths after 10th. Then I definitely need more time, need more focus, more understanding where to go. Okay, guys, that's all for the day. If you guys have any question, in next 2 minutes, I'll be closing the window. So if you guys have any question, you can just drop your number and all your queries here, and we can get back to you. Thank you. Ananya, in alternate day classes, the class timings are fixed. There are 60 hours of preparation, 30 hours for maths and 30 hours for verbal. So, and we have a 3-hour session. So that will take 20 days time on alternate day basis, which means about 4.5 weeks or 5 weeks task. Ananya, can you hear me? I didn't get your question, Sanchit. Yes, I said 5 weeks. 4 to 5 weeks task. That's in weekends, Sanchit. Weekends. One weekend is maths and one weekend is verbal, and that will take again 20 classes. That means 10 weeks, and 10 weeks makes it 3 months approximately. 2.5, 3 months time. 2.5, 3 months. That will be related. Okay, that's all for the day, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Take care. Have a great day.